Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome, welcome. Hit the comments and let me know where you're from, and then hit that like and subscribe button. How's everybody doing? I hope you are doing well. I told y'all gonna be seeing more of me yippity yapping. So today's video is, was I born this way? Am I really that different? So, where did this come from? It came from a couple of people saying almost the same thing to me. Honestly, I'm going to give y'all a little history about myself, and then I might answer the question. I might be left still questioning. Well, I have no questions. I am secure in who I am. So, one statement was made to me, and it's been made a couple of times. You're so bold, you're so brave. Am I? You're doing things that people only dream of. And really? So, the thing that really just said, okay, maybe if I explain myself a little better, it might motivate somebody, encourage somebody, it might make somebody rethink their whole process and say, hey, let me get on the good foot. Let me get busy. So I was having a conversation with a former coworker turned friend, and I've known this person for quite a few years. I'm not going to call his name, but he knows who he is, and he's an older gentleman, so ready to retire, ready to move around, and he had quite a long list of the reasons why he could not even just up and leave, or he couldn't, I can't remember the word that he said, but it was like he felt like he was trapped in a situation that he couldn't win and he couldn't get out of because of these different factors. And he, in the midst of it, he kept saying, you're different. You're not like everybody else. You are a different kind of person, and everybody is not like you, and just, he kept saying it. So I was wondering, am I really that different? What makes me different? Was I born this way? Could be. Well, here's something about me, and I explained it to him. I told him as well. When I entered this world, I think that I was born different. I think everybody is born different, and they just need to hone in on what that difference is. In a world that's trying to make everybody fit into a box, people worried about what the next person think about them and all this stuff, I do not. I don't give a rat's backside of how you feel about me. Don't disrespect me. You don't have to like me. But everybody's different. So what makes you tick doesn't make me tick. I try to live my life in a way that's pleasing to the Most High, Allah, God, whatever you want to call it. I don't intentionally do bad things to people. I try to help people whenever I can. Sometimes even if I don't have the means to help a person, I try to help a person. With that, what you put out is what you get back in. So, was I born this way? You be the judge. When I was born, at about 5 months old or so, I learned how to climb out of the baby bed. And they couldn't understand it, and they didn't know why. So, I have to get this story from my sister regularly. They put me in the baby bed, And then they stood back behind the door and watched me. And they said I reached up on the railing, kicked one leg over, kicked the next leg over, and then just kind of hung there. And then I let go, hit the floor, and started scooting towards the door and down the hallway. 5 months old. And I started walking at about 8 or 9. I think it was 8 months old, because I think at about 10 months I got the chicken pox, which put me back, and I had to learn how to walk all over again. But once I got it and got it down pat, my mother would either put me in the backyard, close the gate, and never really liked to wear clothes. So I would squeeze through the gate in just my diaper, and I would be gone. Maybe 2 or 3 years old. I would be gone. Down the street, across the street, and they would be looking for me. Now, one of the traumatic stories, which is I got out, got away, I made a break for it, and we had this little wading pool in our backyard, and I used to play with my mom's wig. So the pool was not clean. It was a little wading pool. And I must have got tired of the wig because I ditched it. I threw it in the damn pool. So when they found the wig in the pool, you know what the thought was: oh my gosh, she's in this water and she is no longer. And so they pulled, pushed the sides down, drained the water out. No me. I was down the street. When I tell you I got a whooping all the way home, it is what it is. So you can safely say that I've been on the move, on the go, since I was able to walk. Does that make me different? Maybe so. Maybe there's another reason, or something that I'm supposed to be doing is the reason why I've been trained to giddy up. And when I tell you I can giddy up, I can giddy up. So at 17, I joined the military. Spent 6 years in the military, for that to end in disaster. Another story for another day. As soon as I got home, I knew I did not want to be in Michigan. It's cold in Michigan. It's cloudy most of the time, and that doesn't really work for me. So I went to school, did a little something, got a job, and I stayed there for as long as I could, because when I tell you, I'm not the type of person that can be in an office environment with people constantly nagging me and asking me, what are you doing? Or why are you not doing this? That's not for me. And a lot of people, they say it's not for me either. But y'all probably know how to hold your mule, and I do not. When I come unglued, I come unglued. And, it's just, that's me. That's my makeup. I'm a very nice person. I help everybody. And those type of people, myself included, we tend to not get the help back that we need. So anyway, I had enough advertisement. I want y'all to hear that. The speaker bigger than the truck. It happens regularly. It doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough. And that's how they advertise here. They get these humongous speakers and they drive down the street blasting it as loud as they possibly can. So anyway, back to my story. When I had enough of Michigan cold winters and a whole lot of cloudy days, I packed it up and I moved to Florida. Some people will call it stepping out on faith, if that's what you believe. Me, I was just like, I'm tired of it and I'm ready to go. So I packed up my little truck like the Beverly Hillbillies and I headed south. They said, where are you going? I said, I don't know, but when I get there, I will let you know. I headed to Florida. And when I got to Florida, after driving all night, I left about midnight. It took me about 16, 17 hours to drive it straight through. No sleep, filling up only, eating, doing whatever. Determined, strictly determined to get to where I needed to be or wanted to be or whatever. And when I got halfway down Florida, I saw a sign that said, Tampa. I think it said 254 miles, something like that. And I was like, oh, I heard of Tampa. That's where I'm going. And that's where I went. I got there about 5 o'clock in the morning, got me a hotel room. I'm excited. I'm very excited because I didn't come across a little long causeway bridge and it looked beautiful even in the night, and I'm ready. So next door was a little you know, breakfast restaurant, popular breakfast restaurant. I went over there, ate me some breakfast, and said, what am I going to do? I had one paycheck in my pocket, cashed, and I knew I had one more in the hole. So here I am. I go back to the room. I pull out, back then, y'all might not know what that is. I pulled out the yellow pages, and I started looking for employment agencies. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I had to wait, get myself together, wait till about 9 o'clock. I called this agency that said they hired medical personnel or whatever. And I called them, and I told her I just moved here, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, if you get here by 10 o'clock, we might be able to use you. And I said, well, you need to tell me where you are, because I literally just got here like 5 o'clock this morning. And she was like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not. Did you tell me where you are? I'll be there. And I was there. And I got hired. And then I said, can you show me directions to this apartment finding place so I can find me someplace to stay? I'm in a hotel. And she was just like, unbelievable. I went, I missed the turn, I turned around. When I went to make the U-turn, big old sign said, construction special. Let me go see what they got. I went in there and I said, I'll be working for this temp agency. I just got here, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, if you can get some proof of your income, we'll let you get an apartment. 3 o'clock, I had an apartment. This is all the first day of me getting to Florida. And I was excited. I moved around a little bit in Florida because I'm like, okay, I don't know what's what. You know, never been to this area before. And when I was in Florida, I was a kid. So I did that. I tried to make Florida work. I had the sticker shock with the how much money I could make. You know, the trucking industry with Florida, it's not user friendly. You can get loads, you can take loads in. It's hard to get loads out. So I was not able to even get a trucking job. So I was still in the medical field, and I moved around. I left Florida, went back home, regrouped, went back to Florida. I did it like 3 times. I went to Dallas. I went to Atlanta. I went back to Florida again. And I said, if I go back to Florida, somebody commit me. Because I love Florida, but every time I step foot in Florida, I go broke. So in the last go-round, I left Florida. I went to New Orleans. West Bank. I went to West Bank. I stayed there for like a year. And I couldn't with them. So I headed to Texas. I saw these cowboys and cowgirls on horseback, and I was like, I want to do that. I went to Texas. And that's where I stayed from 2012 until I moved to Africa. My biggest feat to date. I said, enough. I don't like it here. I don't like this, and I don't like that. And I was, researching my ancestry and doing all sorts of stuff, and I was just falling in love with Africa. Africa, Africa, Africa. We all go through these stages when you're trying to find yourself. So for maybe 2 years, I was trying to book vacations and do all sorts of stuff. I went to Ghana twice in 1 year, but I'm looking at these pictures of the beach in Zanzibar, and I was like, okay, I had a trip planned, and then here come old Rona. Here come old Rona rearing her head, and so the trip was canceled, lost that money. The last thing to the straw that broke the camel's back in 2020 was that I went for my DOT physical for trucking, and the lady told me they look at you, they see you fat. Mind you, trucking, you ain't gonna get no good food unless you cook it yourself. And it is what it is. So you gain all this weight, and she said, you need a sleep study test. No, I don't. You asked me all the questions. I passed all the questions. Now you're just looking at me because I'm fat, and you say I got sleep apnea. I don't have sleep apnea. I'm not claiming it, and if I do, so what? I don't have any problem sleeping. I can sleep for 2 hours or 12 hours, and if it's good sleep, I'm rested. So, no. Do I snore? Yeah, I snore when I'm tired. And who doesn't? You don't know if you snore or not if you live alone. So anyway, that kind of ticked me off. And she said, well, I'm just going to give you a 2-month physical card. They usually you get 2 years. And I said, I can show you better than I can tell you. And in one of my other videos, I mentioned in 2 months, I saved the money to come to Africa. And when I tell you I wasn't playing, I wasn't playing. What is the driving force? You say, oh, I want to do this. I want to move abroad. It may not be Africa. It may be somewhere else. It may be South America. It may be Asia. What is the driving force? Is that just you talking to hear yourself talk? Or do you really want to be out of a situation? It's like being in an abusive relationship. And I know that well. Why do you stay? What makes you stay in an abusive relationship? Well, that's how I felt about being in the United States. I felt like it was an abusive relationship. I was tired of seeing videos about my people getting just shot down like animals and nobody being held accountable. And you don't know. I refuse to walk around and say, is it going to be my turn next? Because people started getting real gully and trying their hand. And I know me. Not only will I cuss you out, I'll swing on you. And I'll swing on you and swing on you. So I knew that it was getting to a boiling point with driving, with dealing with certain people. You know, they were trying their best to show you that, yeah, you still are nothing and nobody in this country. And granted, everybody's experience is different. I'm a black female from the United States. It used to be like, oh, well, we have to worry about our brothers. And then it started getting to the point where they're not discriminating. They're killing women, you know, under the guise that they felt for their safety. You're supposed to protect and serve, but yet you doing just what you say you afraid of. So why do my people have to be around and just be disgusted? And even before it boiled over, myself and one of my good friends, we were talking about, where could we move to? You know, I'm gone. She's still there. I'm waiting for her. But I understand everybody has their reason, rationale, excuses, whatever you may call it, as to why they haven't picked up and left. And so when this person was like, well, I've got this, I've got a house, I've got children, I've got grandchildren, I've got a significant other that may be on a different wavelength than you. Like you want to move, but your significant other doesn't want to move. And the question was posed to me, well, what would you do in that situation? Well, if we're not married, I'm going to do what's best for me. And that person is expendable, because there's nothing on this earth that is more important than my peace of mind. And I said, with everything that you mentioned, I have something that is more dear to me, that's worth more than anything that you just mentioned. All your stocks and bonds and savings and houses and all that stuff. I have a 90-year-old mother. But you know what? I believe I'm living out her dream, because my mother always wanted to travel, and she wanted to be in the military, and she wanted to do this and that. But she had a family. And so she felt like her family, that's what she had to do, have a family, raise her children. I do not have any of that. I'm by myself. I'm a solo female traveler, living abroad, living out my dream. Is that my dream? I just never thought in 100 years that this is where I would be. But I knew that where I was, I did not want to be. So here's some questions. Does age matter? You know, I took the early out. I got nothing in return for it but peace of mind, which is priceless. So I came here with what I had, and yes, eventually I went through that, but I found something that I could do abroad on a computer to help my situation out. And so one of the things that drove me to get to this point and to be here and still be here is I absolutely do not want to return to the United States. Everybody is different. I just don't. I don't want to be there. So wherever it is I have to go and whatever I have to do by any means necessary to keep me away from there. Do I think I made the right decision? Absolutely. I absolutely do. This is better for me mentally, physically, spiritually. I feel pretty good. Is it easy? Has it been easy? No. But it's all about fixing your mindset. What's important to you? How much can you tolerate? What is your driving force? What's your driving force to not move and stay in the situation that you're in? You know, what is self-determining outside of, oh, I don't have enough money? Series of videos coming up to show you the most expensive thing that you will probably do moving abroad. I can't say we're moving inside the United States, but moving abroad will probably be your plane ticket. Because all the good places, I'm just saying, you can drive to Mexico. You got a car and some guts. You can drive down through Mexico and get to South America and all that stuff. A lot of people don't know that, yes, that's all connected, and you can drive there. But for the most people, they want to go to Asia. They want to go to Africa. Some want to go to Europe. Either way, you have to fly. That will be your biggest expense. So when you make these decisions, there's a lot of things like, what would I have done differently? If I had done this in my 20s or 30s, would I have been prepared? Because shout out to the two young individuals that were here when I got here. Both were 19, a female and a male. One is gone, one is still here. But they were 19. First of all, at 19, I was still in the military. Second of all, I was super duper immature because I was getting all that party stuff out of my system. So I admire both of them for being able to say, well, hey, I'm fixing to pick up and go to Africa. That is a big chunk of cake to bite off and swallow. That is something, like I said, I know I wasn't thinking about nothing like that at 19 because I was already in the military traveling around. So, you know, it wasn't a thought. And so then I asked, is it because I was in the military that I could pick up and move so easily? Or is this something that was just in me? Sometimes I think, you know, they say God doesn't make any mistakes, but maybe the place that I came into, I wasn't supposed to be there. I absolutely hated it. I did. Michigan is in the winter for maybe 9 months out of the year. It's gray and cold. I don't like it. And, you know, you get that June, July, August, possibly September with some sun and some heat. I'm definitely a hot weather person. So was this something that I would have accomplished at an earlier age had I known what I know now? Or would I have still been too immature to survive, to hack it? And I always joke and tell people now, that's my line, I'm immature, I'm still immature. But that immaturity helps me to enjoy things. It was the student tell me, enjoy the moment and be present. Those were some very, very powerful words, and it just stuck out, and it resonated in my spirit. Enjoy the moment and be present, because that is exactly what I'm about to do. So one of the other things, another point was that I'm still here. And is it because when I got here, I knew that I needed to purge. I needed to get, you know, I was as mentally prepared to go as I could possibly be. And so when I got here, this is a culture shock. I don't care where you're from and how you live in. This is a culture shock. Coming from one country to a next is a culture shock. I don't know the language. So shout out to the Mexicans that come over into the United States and can't speak a lick of English, and they still make it. They sit there, they learn, they do what they got to do to survive, and some of them become very successful. You know, granted, against the odds. And so this is what I'm trying to do here, is to not so much as, oh, I'm going to be a trillionaire because I'm going to start this big corporation and blah, blah, blah. My success is just maintaining and staying here. And the rest will come, because there is a purpose. Everything, reasons and seasons, everything has a purpose. So, again, am I different? Am I brave? Am I bold? Or did I just have determination? Was there a driving force to get me out of a situation that I was in? We all look at other people and say, oh, X, Y, and Z. We judge them. We put a label on them. I don't want to live in a box. I never wanted to be inside the box. I've always been outside of the box. So here I am in Africa. I've been here for over a year, and I've been sitting still, because sometimes you have to sit still. And I think one of the things when people come here, you are excited and you want to see this and that, and I think you forget to tell yourself that, oh, I'm not a tourist. I live here. And out of your mouth manifests, because that's what I found myself saying a lot. I'm not a tourist. I live here. I live here. I live here. So I didn't try to do all the touristy things right off the bat. And so I think the time has come, and it's time for me to move around and see some stuff. What is it that I'm here for? What is my purpose? Is it to motivate the next person? I don't know. We shall see, won't we? So, you ask yourself, what is your driving force? Is it enough to make you just straight determined to change your situation, to change your scenario, your scenery? Sometimes we just need to change the scenery. And so for me, moving from place to place in the United States was not working for me. I even considered moving to Montana. It's so beautiful in Montana. It wasn't going to be enough. So here I am, all the way on the other side of the globe. And I think it's the best decision that I've ever made in my life. And I've made some bum decisions. I will be the first person to tell you, I have made some bum decisions. But this one probably saved me from jail or death or whatever. Because I was boiling. My sister, she told me, I was worried that you're going to have a stroke or something. You're just like, I was a ticking time bomb. People will push you to your limits. And then when you come out of the box on them, come out the closet, they're like, oh, she's crazy. Stop pushing my buttons. Leave people alone. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Learn how to mind your own business. That helps. That's a starter, because that's what I do. If I mind my own business, y'all worried about what I'm doing? These are people that are here. Local, diasporan, or whatever. Don't worry about what the next person is doing. I read an article, and the lady said, she's a YouTube content creator. And she said she doesn't subscribe to other people, like, I guess, big channels. I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. She doesn't subscribe to other people's channels because she doesn't want to feel like she's in competition. And I said, oh, is that what the problem is? You support people, they don't support you back. It's not a competition. We all in this together. And I thank you for watching. And that's my little piece for today. 30 minutes. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share, sharety, share, and let people know I'm over here. And it's going to get great. It's going to get greater. I promise you that. Why? Because I'm determined. I'm not different. I was born this way, and I've got a hungry determination. All right, that's all for today. I will see y'all on the next go round.